Game winning streak? Well, the Houston Astros are. Is your team just crushing the competition out there? Well, the Houston Astros are. Is your shortstop playing every day mostly? Well, Jeremy Peña left today's game. We'll have to talk about that, but we'll have to talk about Jose Siri having some good at bats, and I will have to talk about what the Astros offense did. I know last night they scored 5 runs, then they came back and scored a whole bunch more runs, and the offense is looking like it's about to break out. So there's a lot to discuss on this podcast that starts right now. Locked on Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chansey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Heisman. Find me on Twitter at Eric Talk Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen. Whether it's on YouTube, keep on subscribing to us. The numbers are going up. Give us a like and go ahead and check us out. All you have to do is press the little red button that says subscribe and make a podcaster's day a dream come true, whatever that means. That's whatever I'm trying to say. But go ahead and check us out on Spotify, Odyssey, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast. Make us your first listen every day. And I'm just super pumped. I know I was at work and they started playing the makeup game from yesterday, and I know it started in the 4th inning, and Brian Abreu came in and he was pitching that. So we're going to kind of look at what happened in that game, what happened overall, like Jose Altuve. He looks like he's finally Jose Altuve. And then what happened to the whole offense. And then we'll talk about Jose Urquidy. He kind of got rained out a little bit, but he still pitched really good. And the bullpen, we had a 27th man roster for the. Technically, it wasn't really a doubleheader, but they played by the doubleheader rules because the Astros did play 15 innings. So we'll talk about that. And Dusty Baker is moving up the charts again in the managerial wins. And who did he catch up with now? So we'll talk about that. And who's next for the Astros? And by the way, I want to say that the Astros are in first place. They, after winning the game one of, I guess it was game one of today's 1.5 header. That kind of sounds a little weird, but they went ahead and passed the Angels by percentage points by winning their 9th game in a row. And now by winning today's game, the 10th game in a row, that means that they are now a full game ahead of the Angels. So the Angels, poor Angels, they had an off day, and now they sit a game behind the Houston Astros. That's what happens when you go on this big winning streak like this. Also, we will be talking about Jeremy Peña. This is something that I don't think the Astros could afford to lose, especially when Ledmus Diaz was battling some type of nagging injuries himself. So, yeah, yesterday I was watching a game. Then they said, well, there's some tornado warnings or some torrential rain coming. And I was thinking, okay, cool. They're going to be able to play this game, right? And then the game never resumed, and it made for an exciting day today. But you had in game one, you had a season high 15 hits. The previous high was 14 hits. I believe they did twice so far this season, but everybody had a hit in that game. You had Altuve with 2 hits, Brantley with 1 hit, Alex Bregman with 2 hits, Alvarez with 2 hits, Gurriel with 1 hit, Tucker with 2 hits, Peña with 2 hits, Siri with 2 hits, and yes, Martin Maldonado with 1 hit as well. So there's a lot of offense there. The Astros scored 11 runs. This is I think the second time they've done it this season. So the Astros were basically scoring a lot of runs this. And it just, I think the last time that they did this was they scored 15 or more hits in a single game was September 20th at the LA Angels of Anaheim, or whatever we call them, in September 20 of 2021. So that was a long time ago. but the Astros have basically outscored in their 10-game winning streak. They have outscored their opponents 49-11. Just let that sink in. 49-11 in this 10-game winning streak. So the Astros offense has exploded. The pitching is doing just as good as they can. This is the team we thought they were. I know that the loss of Carlos Correa was bad, but the offense just took a little bit of time to gel. They're still not mashing it every game. 5 runs is great. That's going to win you a lot of games, especially looking at what their record is this year once they score 4 or more runs. So, yes, but those 11-run games when you blow the team out, that makes you feel a lot better about the offense. And I think the 15 hits is more indicative of maybe this offense is about to blow up altogether. So we'll see what happens overall. But just the fact that the Astros at one point, they had 3 doubles in a row, and Kyle Tucker in one of the games he had in the same inning. I think the Astros I want to say it was the 6th inning of the first game. They scored 6 runs in the one inning, and Tucker had a double and a home run in that game. So it's just amazing what this team has done. And the Astros, since Jose Altuve has come up, they're back off the IL, they are 10-0. It's just impressive that how much Jose Altuve has struggled before he hit the IL. Then he took that little break. He had his time to kind of reflect, and now he's back. He's before today's second game, he was slashing 387, 486, and 806 with 4 home runs and 6 RBIs. And so Jose Altuve's hitting, Kyle Tucker's hitting, everybody's hitting. The only person who's not really hitting very well, and he's gonna start hitting, hopefully, because he's a professional hitter, is Yuli Gurriel. I know he didn't play in the second game, but overall, this offense is starting to play really good. In game, like I already said, Peña is kind of going to be somebody that we're going to talk about in a second, but he did have 3 hits in the first game, in the second game, but he did leave, and he did have 2 hits in the first game. So Peña had 5 hits today. Just think about that. Your young shortstop had 5 hits in today's game to raise his batting average to 276. Dusty Baker had so much confidence in him that he was batting second in this lineup, and his OPS is all the way up to 853, and he's just getting the job done. And so it was kind of a bad blow that when the trainer went out there to talk to him, and as bad as that is, that the Astros farm system is built with somebody who's going to possibly come up. And speaking of built, let's talk about Built Bar. Imagine dipping your finger in a plastic tub of birthday cake frosting, and then opening your eyes and realizing that was only 150 calories and 16 grams of protein. That's what it's like to eat a birthday cake puff from Built Bar. I just received my birthday cake puffs, and I've never had anything like this before. They're available right now, and we can't promise that they'll be there tomorrow. So go get them today at built.com. And if you haven't tried the puffs, I'll let you on a little secret, because that's what friends do. A chocolate-covered marshmallow protein bar. Yeah, you heard me. Delicious flavored marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate. Make every day your birthday with Built's birthday cake puffs. Built has taken a delicious experience of biting into a fresh slice of birthday cake and robed in 100% white chocolate and added sprinkles. With 150 calories, 16 grams of protein, and only 9 grams of sugar, this is a limited time flavor and this amazing option if you are looking for a healthy way to get flavor and variety in your day. All Built Puffs are covered in 100% chocolate. That means that with Built, you can eat healthy and enjoy doing it. Go to Built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. And speaking of which, if you want to get more bang for your buck, why don't you check out the Locked On Now podcast? They do a great job of putting together all the Locked On Nows from across the network, and you get to see what's going on. I'm sure that Nash Walker is not too happy after this series, especially after losing 2 games on one day, and it wasn't supposed to be a doubleheader. And you can hear about what's going on with the Angels and everything. So go check out the Locked On Now podcast and hear what's going on there. So about Jeremy Peña, I know Jeremy Peña. Well, I kind of teased this before the break, but he did leave in Ledmus Diaz before we get into Peña. Before the game, Dusty Baker said that Ledmus Diaz has been battling some type of ailment, and he hasn't played recently. And he said, well, maybe we'll get him in Washington sometime. But he did play today because Jeremy Peña left in the game. And unfortunately, it sucks, but Peña did leave. He left in what inning? Let me see. I have the note somewhere. He left with right knee discomfort, and the Astros said he is day to day. And so Ledmus Diaz did come in, and we don't know exactly how severe this is. Day to day means they're going to see how he feels tomorrow. But Ledmus Diaz is somebody that you can't. Sorry, not Ledmus Diaz. Jeremy Peña is somebody that the Astros can't replace on this roster. He has become as valuable as Carlos Correa was to this team. He is becoming somebody who's a clutch RBI guy. He's a guy that is leading at the top of shortstops and runs, defensive run saved. He's out there making all the plays. Yeah, he's going to make a few errors here and there, but that's what rookies until he gets totally 100% confident out there, he's going to make some mistakes. But for him to leave today's game, that is a little bit worrisome. The Astros didn't have a big lead, so I think that was a big significant movement. So we'll have to see what happens. Let me see if they said anything after the game about that. But Dusty Baker did say that Jeremy Peña probably won't play tomorrow. So that is big news. And so we'll see what happens long-term for this. Hopefully he's young enough where this isn't going to be a long-term issue. Maybe this was a precautionary issue, but for somebody of his age to leave the game like that, that is something that to keep an eye out for. And so who are you going to bring up from AAA? I'm not sure. I mean, you can always go to Alex Bregman playing shortstop temporarily, or you can have Ledmus Diaz play shortstop temporarily, as the stopgap. But the Astros have other options playing shortstop, but you rather have Peña out there doing it just because of what he can do. So I think they'll give him a few days off, see what he's doing. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. So let me see what we're saying in the chat. So yeah. Goodrum, I think can play shortstop, but that's not his great position. I think that second base, first base is his good position. I think if anything, you'll see Diaz out there. They may shift out Bregman over there for a few games, but I really think that you'll see Diaz there. So we'll have to see who's. I don't know the Space Cowboys roster left and right, but I'm not sure who's playing shortstop down there. I know that Pedro Leon has been playing some shortstop down there, so but I don't think that they'll call him up unless it's a permanent thing. If it's a big injury, or I don't know how confident they are with him playing shortstop on a daily basis. So we'll have to see what that is. So I'm not going to really see what's happening. So Astro Wolf Craig says that Goodrum is a better fielder at shortstop than Diaz. Yeah. So we'll have to see what happens. Let's just hope that this is not a long-term injury, because the Astros need Peña, because he's become the offensive spark plug. As we've seen, the Astros are on a 10-game winning streak because of what Peña has done, because of what Alvarez has done. I mean, look at Alvarez right now. He has he hit 2 home runs in the second game. He is up to 10 home runs on the season. He's got 19 RBIs. And don't discount what Chas McCormick did. He had that big RBI in the second game. And then you had not as many hits, but you had Peña with the 3 hits. And then you had Tucker. And he had another stolen base. He has 8 stolen bases out of 9 attempts this season. And so he's looking better at the plate. And then you had Siri got 3 hits on the day as well. And so, I mean, it's weird to say on the day because he technically played the day before, but still. But Degotti is another guy that you can possibly see come up because Degotti has had some experience. But I don't think that they're going to make a rash move to pull up a Leon unless because he's not on the 40-man roster. They'll have to designate somebody for assignment or something like that. And they want to give him more time. Yes, he's crushing the ball. I saw that he had a huge home run the other day, but they want to give him time. He may be a September call up, but if there's a long-term injury, they may consider that. But they want the best possible candidate at shortstop, and that is Jeremy Peña. So they're going to give him time to get healthy. But this kid, I just can't say enough for what he's done. And like he just looks like a natural at the plate. And good to see Kyle Tucker. Finally, his luck is starting to turn around. He's now batting. I know batting average is not the be all end all, but he's batting 255 with the 807 OPS. Alvarez is all the way up to 271 with a 992 OPS. And then you have Bregman. He's only batting 245, but his OPS is 803. So you see the guys kind of creeping up a little bit. But Jose Altuve, after his bad start, he's batting 250 with 821 OPS. And he had a big home run in game 1 of the double header or 1.5 header, whatever I'm calling it. I'm a math teacher. I'm going to make that type of joke. But he had a big home run last night before the rain delay. And then it just seemed like the offense kept on going. And then they continued in today's game and where they scored 6 runs in the 6th inning. And it seemed like they just couldn't stop. And Chris Archer, what did they do against Chris Archer? They got 5 runs, only 4 of them were earned. And so the Astros offense just came alive, and I hope that they continue doing this. And when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about the pitching because Urquidy did good. Abreu, what he did was great, but the Astros called up some help from the Space Cowboys, and he knocked it out of orbit. And so we'll talk about that, and you can bet we'll talk about some more. So our partners at BetOnline continues to be the #1 source for all your betting news and sports info. Find all the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's basketball playoffs, Major League Baseball scores, fights, and even next season's NFL futures. Who's going to win the Rookie of the Year? Is it still where is Jeremy Peña fitting in there? What if he's got a long-term injury? How would that affect it? BetOnline has all those odds covered. So BetOnline is your continued source for all your sport wagering information from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. So if you look at what the Astros did, I want to go ahead and let's go and talk about the first game. So I know Urquidy only pitched 3 innings because of the rain delay, and he looked pretty good. He only gave up 3 hits. He did have 3 strikeouts. He gave up the 1 run, but he was pretty efficient. He threw 44 pitches in 3 innings, and then the rain came, and then Brian Abreu came in, and a lot of people were like, oh, he's going to pitch a second inning. They're going to try to squeeze in another inning out of him. And I know with him this year, it's kind of been hit and miss with him because he's good like the first inning. And then the second inning's like, are you sure you want to pitch him a second inning? But he did pretty good today. I know that he gave up the run in the second inning, but that's 5th inning. I know it's kind of weird to say, but he started the game technically, the second game. But he pitched a clean 4th inning, and then he gave up the run in 5th inning. But he pitched well enough to get the win, and he ate up a couple of innings. Then Phil Maton came in, and he gave up a run as well. It was on an unearned run, and so he pitched 2 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 walk. And then Stanek came in and gave up 2 hits and a walk and didn't allow any runs in 1 inning there. And then Hector Neris came in and had a clean inning. So overall, the bullpen looked good considering they had to cover 6 innings there. So on the second game, and then where you're going to have to pitch another 9 innings. So it was there, especially with the Twins. The Twins had to their bullpen had to cover a lot. So I know they were able to recall a 27th player like the Astros did, and the Astros recalled Seth Martinez, and they also called up Ronel Blanco as a taxi squad guy. So in case they needed him in between games, they could have DL'd somebody or IL'd somebody and then had Ronel Blanco come up if they needed him, but they didn't need him. So he'll be going back to Space Cowboys. But overall, game 1, as good as you can. You only allowed 3 runs. You scored 11 runs. There's not much to say about that. But Brian Abreu ate up, and he did what he had to do. And so it was kind of probably a weird situation for him to be starting a game because basically that's what he was doing. So he was an opener, so to speak. So you had Luis Garcia start game 2 and the second game of the doubleheader, so to speak. And so if you're looking in terms of how he did, he wasn't super effective. I know he's only pitched 100 pitches. I think maybe, I don't know if he's even reached 100 pitches this year, but he threw 5 innings. He only allowed 5 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks. I believe he got those 2 walks in the first inning, if I remember correctly. But he tied his season high of 9 strikeouts. So he looked good. He didn't have his best control today. He threw 60 strikes in 95 pitches. So overall, it was a pretty good day. When you allow the other team not scoring any runs, that's great. And he lowered his ERA to 2.94. So he's now 3-1 on the season. Then you had Seth Martinez come in. He ate up 1 2/3 innings. He allowed 1 hit, struck out 3 batters. I think the Astros see him as a long, multiple innings guy. And so, I know it was good. So, but Blake Taylor came in, and Blake Taylor has been kind of wobbly lately, but he pitched pretty good. And then Rafael Montero, as he always has recently, he's been pretty good. So the Astros bullpen is just continuing to do what they're doing. But the thing I want to point out real quick is what the Astros have done to 2 really great rookie pitchers, to Joe Ryan, and then today to what's his first name, Josh Winder. They have really dominated 2 of the good rookie pitchers out there. And so the Twins, I know we talked to Nash Walker the other day, and he said the Astros are the first real test for the Twins this year. And the Astros took care of business, and they scored a lot of runs against them. And it was just like, this is what the team, I think a lot of us Astros fans thought that they would be. I know they hit that rough patch to begin the season. Do I think the Angels are a legit team? Yes, they are. I think it's going to be neck and neck. Just because the Astros are 20-11 right now in first place in the AL West, does that mean that they're going to stay there for the rest of the season? No, I think you're going to see the Astros and Angels be like this, okay? The one good thing that I think I can say right now is the Astros do play the Angels well, as we've seen so far this year. The Astros, so that's an advantage that they have. But we'll have to see the Astros continue to play the bad teams really good. So overall, the Astros are 21-11. My bad. I was looking at the wrong game. The Astros, I just saw that. The Astros are 21-11 because I was like, wait, the Twins should be 18-14. I was looking at the wrong game. But yes, so looking ahead to this next series, the Astros are going back to play in Washington for the first time since the 2019 World Series. And also, this is the same time. This is Dusty Baker going back to Washington for the first time in a regular season since he was let go, or they asked him not to come back, or something like that. So, yeah, Astro Wolf Craig says the Angels are 21-12. And before I go into Dusty Baker thing, if you want to say what the Yankees are doing, the Yankees are 22-8. So they're doing pretty good. But other than that, if you're looking at winning records, the Astros have the second best winning record. The Astros have the second best winning record in the American League. So from where they were to where they are now is pretty impressive. And that's what a 10-game winning streak will do. All you can hope. How far will it go? I don't know. I know a lot of people. Bragg McTaggart tweeted out earlier about the 11-game winning streak that the Astros had before, and so will the Astros be able to do this again? And so the Astros are on their. This is what his tweet was: the Astros are on their longest winning streak since wheeling off 11 in a row from June 12th through the 27th of 2021. And you know what a lot of people said? Oh, there you go again, McTaggart trying to jinx everything. And so we'll see what happens. And no, I'm not going to root for Trout. Trout is good for baseball. And I know people are saying Trout's going to get hurt and the Angels are going to fall off, but Trout is good for baseball. And so just like Jose Altuve is good for baseball, even though people boo him and everything, Altuve is good for baseball. Trout is really good for baseball. And if you really want exciting baseball, Mike Trout needs to be in playoffs. Now, does it need to be over the Houston Astros? No, I still want the Astros to win AL West, and they can be in a wild card game. Can you imagine the Angels in a wild card game versus maybe Blue Jays or something? That would be exciting series to see George Springer versus Mike Trout. That would be exciting one-game playoffs game. So, I'm actually rooting for the Angels, not over the Astros. The Astros should be in first place, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, so Dusty Baker, this is the first time that he's going to be going back to Washington since they asked him not to come back. And he said that everything happened for a reason, and I would have rather been in a game, but when I look back, those are a couple years I can't bring back, especially Alaska. But now that Darren's playing ball, where would I go? November. So basically, he just said, I really enjoyed my time in Washington. The 2 years I was there was probably some of my most enjoyable times I've ever had in baseball, on and off the field. Always liked the diversity, the people, the education level that was there. I got along great with the organization, got along great with Rizzo and all the people there. And he said that it wasn't Rizzo who fired him. It was somebody else who made him fire him or something. But I'm really glad that he was available because Dusty Baker was there at the right time for the Houston Astros. And that was really good that he was there because the Astros needed somebody who's been through controversy and everything. And that's what he did. So if you're looking at top 10 managers in terms of win of all time, Dusty Baker is now there with 2008 wins. He is tied with Leo DeRocher with 2008. So to get to top 9, he's got 32 more to go to reach Walter Alston. And then he's got a whole lot to get to Joe McCarthy at 21, 25. And then I don't think he's ever going to reach Connie Mack. Connie Mack has 3,731. I don't think Dusty Baker has any sights of trying to reach that, but I think he has a shot of looking at the numbers. I think he probably has a shot of maybe reaching maybe Bucky Harris, maybe Sparky Anderson, depending on if the Astros bring back next year, but who knows what happens. But the series, the Astros have played a lot of baseball in the past, 12 hours. So they're going to be a little tired on their flight to that Washington. And so we'll just see what happens here. So let me see if I've seen anything about, before I end the show, let me see if we see anything about Peña. Oh, here's the starting rotation. It's going to be Friday. It's going to be Framber Valdez. Saturday, Christian Javier is back in rotation. And Sunday, it's going to be Justin Verlander. And so we'll see what happens. And like I said earlier, Dusty Baker said Jeremy Pena probably won't play tomorrow. And so, yeah, I do have a feeling too that Dusty Baker will retire after the season. And apparently Dusty Baker doesn't know what caused the knee issue. Nothing was visible on the run. Somebody on the bench told him that Pena's cleats may have gotten stuck in the clay as he tried to leave the batter's box. So that's all we know. So hopefully it's not a major injury. So I don't think a belt bar will help Jeremy Peña recover, but it'll definitely give him a tasty little snack instead of reaching for something that has more calories or more grams. So let's take a look at who will be on the mound for the Nationals real quick, because it's definitely not going to be anybody super imposing. So where is that game? So, trying to find it. Anyway, all right. Oh, there it is. I couldn't find it for a second. All right, so it's going to be Framber Valdez versus Josiah Gray, and Josiah Gray has a 4-2 record with a 3.45 ERA, 34 strikeouts on the season. And the way Valdez has been pitching recently, I'm not going to say anything, but it's just like the starting pitching has got to continue, because this is the frame, the staple of this team. Just good pitching, good bullpen, and good hitting. And if you put all three of those together, this team is capable of winning any game. And does that mean at the trade deadline they may not add another starter? I think they may. So will they add another hitter? Maybe. You never know. So they may do what it takes to get the job done. So anyway, that's all I got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. We're going to have Sean Dubin on with Space Cowboys on in a little bit, and we'll be back with another Locked On Astros podcast next week. So let's keep the good times rolling. Let's keep on getting wins for Dusty Baker and Go Astros, and we'll be talking more Astros, and talk to you later.